Hi, I'm Mary Dalba,
And I'm Ericka Ayub.
and thanks for listening to the Ericka and Mary Podcast. We have some great information for you today. So today's topic is about keeping the body, mind, and spirit in balance. We hear a lot of things out there about why it's important to keep everything level and keep everything feeling groovy. But the problem is that we always don't get information that's practical to us on how to keep those bodies in check. So today's topic is really just to give you some practical ideas on how to focus on each of the bodies, making sure that they're in good health. And when you do that, everything around you kind of works a little groovier.
Everything starts clicking into place.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So let's talk about first the body.
Mm-hmm.
So we know, I think for everybody that's out there, you know, you have one, obviously, first of all, but you also know when you're off your baseline, when it's not exactly working the way it's supposed to be working. You get a headache, you get a backache, you get something that knocks the body out of balance.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things that people usually say is, well, I got to go to the doctor, right? Which is, of
Exactly. That would be, good first guess.
course, right. It's
Yeah.
a good idea. But what if it's something that you already know? Like, so you get a headache and you already know it's a stress headache. You've gone to the doctor, he's said, yeah, or she said, hey, definitely, that's a stressor. What are some of the things you can do to get the body into balance?
Well, first you got to work on that stress.
Mm-hmm.
I like to recommend like creative and physical outlets for people. I really feel like if you have like a decent or at least a basic exercise regime along with like somewhere you could kind of express yourself, I feel like that kind of helps with the emotional and spiritual body as well as the physical.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. There's a lot of people that come in that I see that I'll say, if you have something that's physically you're carrying around with you, it's a good idea to get some kind of outlet for that. So definitely the creative and the physical kind of outlets are good. So exercise, drawing. I mean, it can be 1,000 different things, but
Yes.
it's releasing it from the body.
Yeah, because you don't want to hold on to that because that's when it can either stagnate or manifest into something physical or emotional
Right.
if you hold on to it for too long.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've heard people too, Ericka, when you do massage on people that say, I've gone to the doctor and they say they can't really find anything wrong.
They can't find anything wrong with me. They say, it's my stress level. And that's why they usually will come to us is for the physical portion. They feel their muscles all tightened up. Their head is killing them. They, everything hurts. And that could be a physical problem, but it also could be that emotional or energetic and like bad energy that they're carrying along with them that's now manifesting into their bodies because they've just put it off for so long.
Right. And I know for me, for example, Ericka is my massage therapist and I adore her. And it always turns out that when I finally get on the table for Ericka, I'll say, I know this one's going to hurt because I'm so tense from a bunch of different things. Talk about heal thyself, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know that I have to get on the table and have Ericka work on me. And so it's important like to create those self-care things to get the stuff out of your body. I don't think we realize not just physical stuff. If you're working out and everything, things happen that absorb into your physical body. It could be emotional. It could be spiritual. It could be some other thing that you're carrying. So the more that you work on getting stuff out of your system, literally, the better that your body is going to feel.
Absolutely. And as a massage therapist, like the classic textbook issue that I see with a lot of people is their neck, shoulders are always killing them. And I call those the angel wings. You've probably heard me refer to them. That's when your shoulder blades just get kind of locked up and they feel you get like two like cables in your back. So that seems to manifest with people while either it's sitting at computers, desk jobs, or people that take on way too much responsibility or just bite off a little bit more than they can chew. So it's almost like they're physically carrying that load on their back.
I don't know anything about that, Ericka. I don't know what you're talking about. No.
We all know nothing.
Do.
We know
no,
nothing
we know
about
nothing.
this.
We know nothing about it.
But that's just kind of one of those classic things that I think that many folks can relate to. Everyone says, "Oh yeah, I take on way too much," and
literally we do.
You do, and us massage therapists can see right through it. Exactly.
So the next piece that I figure we can talk a little bit about is the mind. Dealing with the mind and the pressures of the mind and where things can manifest from stuff that's going on in the mind. So that can be things like worry. You know, you've got a big project due at work. You're worried about the kids. You're worried about the husband or the wife. You're worried about worried. So it's all sitting in the mind. It could be, you know, you have all these creative things you want to get out and they're stuck. You have a certain thought pattern that keeps coming up. So, you know, a lot of stuff that I see from people with Reiki, and I know you see it with energy work too, Ericka, is getting people on the table and working on the stuff in the head, because when you carry these thoughts, these thought processes, old tapes that maybe come from childhood, old relationship stuff like that, that can manifest in other places too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I find sometimes when working on someone, when I do Reiki on them in the mind, I sometimes pick up stuff that can be things like they've cut off from their spiritual side. They've cut off from, you know, their creative side. All of a sudden they've come into a place of, you know, well, this is the way it is, and maybe won't be so flexible on making changes. So that stuff can manifest in all kinds of decision-making ways. Would you?
Yeah,
think?
I would agree. I feel like, you know, the more you take on, the less clear your judgment can be too. So it really kind of like gets you all foggy. And I think a lot of people notice that, where they just feel like their head is just so full of just thoughts and lists that they just never seem to have an end for. So all that stuff really starts piling up.
Yeah, you've seen that meme on Facebook, which I love. It's the one like, you know, during the day I feel like I'm tired at work, and then when I get home and put my head down on the pillow at night, it's, you know, I've thought of all the world's problems immediately. And
yeah, I can fall asleep at my desk at work, but as soon as I lay down in bed, I have to worry about, you know, the secretive life and where the universe has come from.
Right. And how did the stars form? You know,
how did the stars align themselves in such a perfect way that it created our solar system?
Right. Let me think about that while I stare at the ceiling. And wow, that minute didn't go by yet on the clock.
Damn it, why am I not asleep yet?
Why am I not asleep? So that definitely, sleeplessness, like it can definitely manifest in this foggy mind. I think is one of the biggest things people talk about. You know, they'll say to me, I just can't get clear. And part of that is just carrying all that stuff in the mind. But we really feel like we're locked into that space of, well, this is the way my life is every day, and I have to hit the ground running. Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, but
you can only hold on to so much. You're not a robot, and you're not a Superman. In order to be able to progress forward, you got to let go of some of the old that doesn't work for you anymore. You can't. It's not realistic to carry all that.
No. So I think one of the biggest things that I say to people is, hey, therapy is a wonderful thing. You get with a great therapist, someone that you can really release your feelings to and your thoughts. That's a great place to process.
It's such a vital tool. I've been working with my therapist for over 10 years now, and I see her every week. I wouldn't be where I am today without her help. So I highly recommend that you talk to someone about it. You know, just give it a try. You never know.
And I think friends are great and family's great and very supportive. And I think they're great resources. So if you can utilize them too, that's fantastic. But a therapist, to me, is someone who's outside of the situation.
Yeah, you need someone who's not directly in the situation, because they'll have a bias.
Exactly.
You know, they won't be biased. And they can see it from a clear perspective outside of the entire scenario.
Right.
So it really does help to just kind of have someone pull you out of the situation and just kind of look at it for what it is, and you're able to process it better, rather than getting caught up in impulsive emotions or, you know, hurting somebody's feelings, or, you know, unintentionally, but, you know, things can just come off wrong when emotions are flaring.
Absolutely. So I agree. Having that unbiased person in the game is a good thing.
It is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. So the other thing I tell people as far as like to work out stuff with the mind is think about how you can get some of the stuff in the mind out. So I actually do this exercise every day. It's something called the morning pages. And I got it from this author, Julia Cameron. She writes this book, The Artist's Way. And what you do is you sit down and you take a notebook. I have a sketchbook. I'm pointing to a sketchbook on a table, which of course you guys can't see, but I have a notebook that I use similar to what's on my table here. And I just write longhand. You can't type. Don't type.
No.
Write longhand 3 pages every day. And I find that when I just data dump, so I get up in the morning, I grab my tea, I sit down, I start a data dump out of my brain, and I find that it clears the path. because for whatever reason, I'm just dumping stuff in. I'm not editing it. I'm not judging it. It's not something that I'm writing for an audience. I'm writing it for me. And when I dump all of it out, there's been some ideas that have come up that I've actually been able to work through. There's been some, thoughts that I've had that I've been able to write, like, oh, this is what I really mean by that. And it sort of can open things up. Yeah. So it's a really nice tool that's really easy. And I really think that people can, all you need is a notebook and a pen. It's simple. It's first thing in the morning. You got to get up a little bit earlier. I hate to say it, people. A little bit earlier in the morning.
Get up a little earlier. Come on. It's good for you.
It's good for you.
And I almost feel like, doing this is like giving you that clean slate for the morning. You know, as soon as you get that out of the way, that kind of just like helps you open up and be more receptive to what's coming for the rest of your day ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the other thing people can do with the mind stuff is that if you want to use, again, I know Ericka and I are definitely real creative people, so we definitely recommend creative things to clear the mind, but painting, I know Ericka, you're a great painter and artist.
Painting.
Yeah. I'm a writer. I like to draw. I like to do kind of creative stuff, Zen doodle kind of stuff. Just stuff that there's those adult coloring books that have come out.
Oh, those are awesome. I have a few of those.
Yeah.
So even if you just pick up something like that, if you are afraid of like picking up a paintbrush and just going to town on a canvas, it's as easy as going to grab a pack of colored pencils and an adult coloring book. It doesn't matter as long as you're doing something to kind of stretch those creative muscles in your brain.
Yeah. And it brings joy to the brain, which also helps bring joy to
who
you.
doesn't like coloring?
I love coloring.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's fun. It's very fun. And you're probably doodling during the day anyway, during your conference call. So why not?
Drawing little flowers and stick figures. Maybe you're, drawing your boss with like a bad mustache or something. See, you're expressing yourself. That exactly.
The handlebar mustache.
Yeah, the handlebar mustache.
So that's some of the mind work that you can do. And then when we look from the spiritual side, spiritual blocks can mean a bunch of different things. I think it can be, one of the things that I've seen with a lot of my clients is just a disconnection from the spirit side. So it's whatever your connection to the other side is, whether it's religion, whether it's faith, a philosophy, a goddess, a god, a lawa. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever, whoever you believe in. If you believe in someone, for the folks out there who don't really believe in a spiritual side, this can also be things that bring you a connection that may be to something that's bigger than you, nature, anything like that. When you have a disconnection from that, I think where that breaks you down is you're sort of living in this your own little microcosm. You're not really reaching out to the other parts of the universe, and it could be even to other people. But I think when you cut that off, or there seems to be a disconnect there. And a lot of that can come from maybe feeling like the spirits abandoned you. And I know people have gone through traumas where that happens, where they say, God or gods or whoever doesn't care about me. Right? We've all been there.
Yeah.
But I think that's a time, and this is my own personal opinion, I think that's a time when you need the spirits the most.
Absolutely. And all you have to do is just ask for help. You just have to ask. Some people are too proud to do that.
Well, yeah, in many different ways, whether it's the humans or the spirits. But even if you create a practice that is just really good for you, that can be meditation practice to connect with your spirits. Some people chant, some people meditate, some people listen to really groovy music. I'm a big proponent of Krishna Das, who is a chanter who was just a regular guy. He was actually going to be a lead singer of a rock and roll band, and they fired him. And so imagine that, right? He has this faith crisis, and he goes to India and ends up living there for about, I think it was something like 20 years, and started to chant while he was there. And he's brought it back and brought it to many, many people. It's funny where life can take you. So I really think that he's somebody that someone could listen to. I mean, find some groovy music. I mean, that can be a spiritual
something
experience.
That really speaks to you, something that moves you. That's all we're looking for, is just get that energy flowing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of connection to the universe again. Sometimes just to have faith, maybe not trying to control it, can be something that we have to let go and let whoever.
It's not about the control. It's about, surrendering yourself to, the bigger picture. Yeah.
But when you have a block there, I know clients who have a block there. Like I have one of my clients, she's gone through some really tough things. She's gone through cancer. She's gone through divorce. She's gone through just problems at work, problems with her kids, just a whole bunch of, like, it always seems like it's piling up. And she's finally like, listen, I just can't believe in a philosophy or a faith. And I'll say, well, find something that opens you up differently than what's here just on the earth. You know, whether it's going out and hugging a tree, that can be a spiritual
It's as
experience.
simple as that.
It's however you define your spirituality, however you define it. And really just think about what is going to fulfill you in that respect. So if you need help with that, I think definitely working with a spiritual practitioner may be able to look at, you know, maybe what the blocks are and then how you can work with them. But it's not to push religion on anybody. We're definitely not doing that.
No, it's just like looking into what works for you and what helps you open up to that possibility. You don't have to believe in anything specific. I'm just into the universe. Yeah. I mean, you don't need a specific deity, you know, just something that kind of connects you to the spirit. Well, they call it the spirit or the universal energy, the global consciousness, just connecting.
Yeah. Because you can't live in kind of a space on your own here. We're all part of the earth. We're all part of the world. We're all part of each other. And I think if we make connections, it just helps uplift us. I used to say, and I'm kind of kidding when I'm saying it, but I don't. I'm a huge Red Sox fan. Folks that know me know I'm a huge Red Sox fan.
Oh, yes.
So I used to call going to games a spiritual experience. And I was kidding, but there was times that really I'd go and I'd sit there and I'd take in like the pause and the action, you know, where everybody's sitting there, they're talking, they're kind of getting into the space of the Sox are going to be up at this time. They're in between innings. And you just take in the moment for a minute and just realize like here's a group event, a group consciousness. Yeah, we're all cheering for the Sox. But it's still a group consciousness where we're all on the same mission and the same page.
Exactly.
And so something like that can be a spiritual
Even
experience.
that sense of almost community. Yeah.
Right.
Finding that connection with others.
Yeah. So, you know, even if you smack hands with somebody sitting next to you, it's good.
You're making a connection.
You're making connection. Rock concerts, music, stuff like that is also a great way to find community.
Yeah,
and
you find a really good vibe in those events.
Yeah. And it lifts you to a different place. It lifts you to a
whole other vibration.
So that's something to think about too. If it's not so much from a religious standpoint or a faith standpoint, it can also be what moves your vibration.
Yeah.
And that's what it means. So what brings you to a different mood change or a different place. So that can be your spiritual connection too. So these are just some suggestions. I know that Ericka and I are here to, you know, field your questions. If you have some suggestions on what your different body, mind, spirit work is, some of your connections, we'd love to hear about them. Ericka, how can people get in touch with us?
Well, they can shoot us an email at Ericka, Ericka, and Mary Podcast @gmail.com.
Definitely give us your comments, your questions. We'll read them on a future podcast. Of course, if you'd like to stay anonymous, we can do that for you. But we would love to hear your feedback because what we talk about, we can always use your ideas on the show.
Yeah, let us know if there's any techniques that we haven't mentioned that really work for you and could help somebody else.
Yeah, because that would definitely help a lot of people.
Agreed.
Awesome. Thanks for listening tonight, everyone.
Thank you.